Hey movie fans, I'm Drew Graber, and as you know, this is Movie Toast, the show where we celebrate movies one drink at a time. Now today we're going to be reviewing Bohemian Rhapsody, the biopic about Freddie Mercury, the famed lead singer of the band Queen. And we are going to be deciding whether this movie is worthy of a toast or a roast. So we are going to talk about different parts of the production and discuss on whether we think that this movie is worth watching or not. So let's get to it. The story, I think, is one thing to note because it's a good story where a good story is due. I mean, it's a biopic, so it's really hard for them to do anything super creative or new that we wouldn't expect. They can't really give us a plot twist ending with a biopic, and they can't say, it's like, hey, Freddie Mercury is actually alive, he's living on Mars with Michael Jackson and Johnny Cash. Like, no, they can't do that, because that's not what happened. They have to tell us what happened, and they can take some liberties and dramatize a few different scenes, but overall, they have to tell this story. That's one thing biopics tend to do, is they have a formula, and the formula works really well when they do it well. I mean, this movie is a little bit different because it does bring about the musical aspect like Walk the Line does. Jersey Boys is a little bit different because that one's based off of a musical. So that one's structured a little bit differently where the music and story like tell the story rather than this one is kind of like, oh, we're going to stay accurate to the timeline and we're going to put the songs where they were according to when the albums were released. Overall, I think they did a really good job with the story. It's paced really well. I never really felt bored throughout it. I was invested in the characters, and I was invested in Freddie's life, which I think is the goal of a biopic story. One thing I really liked that they showed us in the story from the beginning is that this is a movie about Freddie Mercury. They distinguished that right in the opening scene, saying it's like, hey, this is about Freddie, not necessarily just about the band Queen. It is more going to be about Freddie's story than the band as a whole, which I appreciated because if we would have gone through the whole movie and been like, oh, I was expecting a movie about Queen, but it's really a movie about Freddie Mercury, it would have been a different story. This review would have had a little bit more negative things to say about the movie, but since they were able to tell us that it's about Freddie from the very beginning, then it made me okay. It was like saying, okay, we're going to be following Freddie.
How many more Galileos do you want? Roger, there's only room in this band for one hysterical queen.
The acting is something I really want to note because Rami Malek did a phenomenal job as Freddie Mercury. His singing, like, I felt like I was watching Freddie Mercury, which it's a good thing considering it's a movie about Freddie Mercury, but his aneurysms, the way he talked, he clearly did his research for this role and did a phenomenal job with it. I think overall the editing was pretty well done. The opening credit scene is something to note. I always like opening credit scenes where they have us watching something while they're showing the credits so that we're not just kind of sitting there waiting for the movie to start. The movie is starting while the opening credits are rolling, which I think is a good touch. There were a few points where it felt like they were trying to montage a little bit, which I wasn't a fan of the way they did it. Just the way that it was shot, it felt kind of clunky and a little bit cheesy, but overall it didn't ruin the experience, and I thought overall the editing was very well done. I think that they really showed this movie in the way that they intended, and the audience felt what they were supposed to feel, which was a story about Freddie Mercury, and we were supposed to feel for the characters. I think they did a really good job. And the music, I mean, obviously, with this movie being about Queen, the music is going to be a little bit different than everything else, because the music is a part of the story. It's not just something that's kind of in the background that helps you feel the story and, like, understand the emotion and feel the emotion. It's a part of the story. It is a theme in the story, and it is a crucial part of Freddie Mercury's life, and I think they did a really good job with it. Rewatch value. Now, this is something I thought would be important to add into movies. We get it with video games where they always say, oh, what's the replay value of this? Is it high, moderately low? I want to do the same thing with movies. So I want to say, it's like, you are going to want to watch this movie every time it comes on TV to you probably walked out of the movie halfway through. So I think the rewatch value of this movie is moderate to moderately low. I mean, if you love Queen, then it'll be a bit higher. Like, it's not a bad movie by any means. It's a very good movie. But I don't really see a need for me to go back and watch it a lot, since we get the story once around and it's like, oh wow, this is the story of Freddie Mercury. Unless you're in love with the band Queen, if you saw this movie on and you had nothing to do, you might watch it. Otherwise, I highly doubt you'll find yourself watching it more than once or twice. So the rewatch value is going to be moderate to moderately low. But if you disagree with me, let me know down in the comment section below. Or just let me know what your thoughts on the movie were as a whole. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about it. So I think it's fair to say that I think this movie definitely deserves a toast. I mean, it's a great movie. They did a phenomenal job with the production. It felt like I was watching Queen the entire time I was watching the movie. I didn't feel like I was watching a bunch of actors, except for Littlefinger basically playing Littlefinger, but in modern London. He's a great actor, and he did a really good job with the role, but it was hard for me not to see him as Littlefinger. So that's the only nitpick thing I have for it. But overall, I think the movie was really good. The music was phenomenal, and I felt immersed in the movie the entire time. It's beautifully done, beautifully shot, and it's just a great story. I highly recommend it.
So now what?
This is when the operatic section comes in.
Oh, the operatic section, yeah.
Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me, for me, for me.
You're a legend, Fred.
We're all legends.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll be releasing new videos every Friday. You can also follow me on Twitter at The Movie Toast. And if you have any ideas on what movies I should talk about next, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Ding.